All right, you want to hear about our first conspiracy theory?
Yes.
Is about Walmart.
Okay.
Do you know any Walmart conspiracy theories off the top of your head?
I have seen one where supposedly all the Walmarts are connected with underground tunnels, and they're going to be what the elite use to evacuate for anything such as like nuclear threat, environmental catastrophes, and things as such.
This is very close to that, but kind of the opposite. The theory is that under every Walmart there is a camp, like a FEMA camp.
I've seen that.
That's the theory. Well, yeah, I guess FEMA camp would be the theory. But underneath every Walmart, there's a camp, and then the camp underneath each Walmart is big enough to hold all of the people like in like a certain radius of that Walmart. Kind of like how they figure out how whenever they order supplies like for the store, you know what I'm talking about? They figure out like how many people are in like that radius. So that's how many people are going to like more than likely shop at that store. They use the same kind of thing to make the FEMA camp underneath every Walmart. And then the government is going to do like make like a fake like national
disaster.
Yeah, like a natural disaster or whatever. And, come up with whatever they have to get everybody to get into these FEMA camps. And then once they feed everybody into these FEMA camps, they're going to kill them for population control.
I've seen something along these lines.
So basically they'd come up, because if you think about it, how easy would it be for the government to come up with like a fake disaster?
Well, it'd be really easy because you have HARP and you have the old Nikola Tesla created a device on that's able to create an earthquake. And also HARP.
Fat guy jumping up and down.
Three fat guys jumping up and down.
Okay.
3 people my size jumping up and down can create a class 4 earthquake, but we'll put a note and we'll come back to it.
Okay.
But no, so you ever heard of HARP? HAARP.
I've heard of it, but I've heard that it's like I don't know exactly what it is. I've heard that people say it's like a satellite that controls the weather. But then I've heard that like it's also like supposedly not anything like that at all.
Well, because HARP is a real place.
Right. I've heard that, it's a real thing. It's just like, I guess the conspiracy is on what it's used for.
Well, it's used to try and mess with the airways. Because, there's airstreams, and that's how we get, like whenever we get rain, that's where the clouds come from, is off those airstreams. Because we have 2 or 3 of them that come through here, like different ways that come through.
I was on one yesterday.
All right. Yeah, you just took a kite and we're just like flying through the air with it.
It was a parachute. But
a parachute. Whatever, my bad. But supposedly they're able to manipulate it. And that's like how they're supposed to create disasters, because they can mess with the ocean.
So that's how they control the weather.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly. Now that one, I'm not 100% positive. I don't know how you do it with satellites. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but at the same time,
I don't know about satellites, but you've heard of cloud seeding, right?
I have not.
That's not even a conspiracy. That's a legitimate thing that they do in, I believe it's Abu Dhabi and like places like that are desert. They have planes that go up. I don't know if they go above the clouds or in the clouds or whatever, but they spray a certain chemical in the clouds and they make it rain, and they do it like once a week or however often they decide they need rain.
So it's kind of like a chemtrail, sort of.
Yeah, kind of.
It's like a chemtrail, but except they're not really creating a cloud. They're making the cloud rain.
Right. They're not creating the clouds. The clouds are just, they're already there. I forget what chemical it is, but there's some certain chemical they can put into the clouds and then force it to rain. So they definitely already control the weather.
Yeah, to a degree, yes, they do. And like I said, too, if you look up the Nikola Tesla device.
Or I'm not saying they do. They can. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like I said, you can look up that Nikola Tesla device, and that's a real thing that Tesla came up with, was actually able to, like the machine that could create an earthquake. And that's not a conspiracy or anything. That's straight fact.
So you think the government has a hold of one of those things?
Oh, most definitely. Because think about it. Whenever he died, they stormed his house and took all of his notes, all of his experiments, everything he had going on, and made it all classified just immediately and never released any of it.
Of course they wouldn't release it. Why would they release all the good stuff?
Well, supposedly he even created a device that can create energy out of basically nothing and have a renewable energy that would always be able to just keep going. It wouldn't be like how we use electricity and stuff now.
Really? So like he found a way to create energy or a way to like conserve energy very well, maybe.
Basically, I mean, I was reading something on it. Basically, the way it would be, he'd be using motion and okay, you know how a grandfather clock works? Once it starts moving, it will always work until it stops.
Well, you have to wind it up for a grandfather clock.
Oh, man, it's
because they like it. I get what you're saying, but the grandfather clock they have weights in the bottom, and you have to remember, like at grandma's house, you have to wind it up, and then the weights just the force of the weights pulling down is what keeps the clock going.
Yeah, but it always keeps going, doesn't it?
Not if you don't wind. I mean, you have to wind it. Yeah, if you don't wind it, then it'll just
but how often do you wind it?
I think it's like once a month.
Oh, never mind.
Something like that.
Now I'm thinking of a different type of clock thing. Because there is a clock.
There's things like Rolexes will have like some type of, but it still doesn't. It's not like it just goes forever. It works off as some type of weight that swings around like as you walk and as you move your arm, and that's what keeps the watch going. So like it's just your energy being transferred to the watch basically instead of like plugging it in or whatever.
Yeah, but. Because then there's also another clock too. They have it set up but it's actually a clock, but they're super expensive, like $10,000. But it goes off of the Earth's gravity, and the weight will not always, but it'll move on for
if gravity was real.
So, if gravity is real. So what do you think gravity really is?
I think gravity is the government.
I mean, they both start with a G, so all that makes sense. If it starts with the same letter, it's got to be,
Do you think maybe the government could just like turn up the gravity and then turn it down?
Well, we'd all probably die, but probably.
I mean, think about whenever you trip and fall. You just fall into a pool of gravity.
Oh my. We went from FEMA camps to talking about pools of gravity.
Did I just blow your mind?
No.
All right, so let's go back to the FEMA camps. What kind of disaster do you think the government would, if they were going to create a disaster to try to get everybody in these FEMA camps that are underneath the Walmart? What do you think they would? What do you think they would do?
I feel like if they were really wanting to do that, they would probably do something along the lines of like a tsunami or like a hurricane. Actually, a hurricane would be something they could do because where they can manipulate the
the whole U.S. though.
No, they'd have to do a little bit at a time.
You know what I think they would do? And I think this would be very easy for them to do because nobody would really be able to like disprove it, I guess. I think they would like say that we're under some type of like giant biological attack.
That's true. And